Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to a new episode of the End of the Week. This is for the 9th of May, 2026. As always, I'm super excited to have you here with us. This week's episode is going to be a little bit different. We've done something like this before, but what we're talking about today is going to be the Golden Dome systems. We're going to talk about what it is. We're going to talk about a new report that came in from Defense One, which is my go-to for everything that's national security. I can't recommend them enough. They are everything that I really enjoy. I get a lot of my stories to cover from them. I highly recommend going to their website, signing up for their newsletters. But before we dive into the stories for this week, if I could get you to please gently caress that like button. As always, it lets the algorithm know that this brings you value and that you think that this is worthy of your time, and I appreciate it so much when you do that. So please go ahead. Also, click the subscribe and follow button on Spotify. That gives the algorithm more information. It lets them know that this channel brings you something unique and different that no one else does. And if you want to know when new videos drop, you probably should know when this one drops, noon Mountain. But if you can go ahead and hit the notification bell, it's the best way to find out when these videos drop, especially if you're wanting to keep notified of some of the more random long form videos that I'm working on. I recently posted an interview with Staff Sergeant Christian Powell of the U.S. Air Force. He was a recent self-elimination from the Air Force Special Warfare Assessment and Selection course, and he graciously gave his time to give insight to the young bubbas trying to get through it. I'm also in the midst of working through a long-form video that will be my first video essay style that is about architecture and ideology. Really excited for that. It's going to be live in a couple of weeks once I get the script done and everything, so please stick around, and I'm really excited. I hope that you will give that a watch. So, what is Golden Dome? Officially called Golden Dome for America, this is a mostly theoretical initiative at this point that purports to protect the U.S. from intercontinental ballistic missiles, nuclear warheads, and things like that. This is inspired from the Israeli Iron Dome system that has been fairly successfully utilized against missile attacks from Iran and its proxies throughout the decades. We've seen it recently in the current war with Iran, and while not 100% successful, it has definitely been worth the money spent. Some of the components that have been proposed for the Golden Dome is a constellation of satellite-based tracking platforms to detect real-time missile launch, kinetic interceptors based at sea, at space, and on land, the development of directed energy systems like lasers, as well as AI integration for faster sensor-to-shooter connections. Right now, there hasn't been anything official that has come out, but there is a lot of debate and discussion around it right now. On the 7th of May, 2026, I received an email from Defense One. It contained this Golden Dome Insights and Update editorial briefing. The briefing includes 5 chapters. It's fairly succinct. And I do believe that it gets to the point, and I've agreed with almost everything that they have put out. Note this is a little bit more editorial based than what they normally just report the news, but they also do some really good editorial work as well. Chapter 1 of this is a discussion around the money. Currently, both bodies of Congress are asking where the money's gone and what it's being used for. In the most recent defense appropriations bill, congressmen have asked for more transparency, and despite the fact that DoD has said that they've been briefing Congress, one expert from the Secure World Foundation has quoted, "Even as though you've seen DoD officials say that they have been briefing Congress, they clearly have not." I think that this is really telling that DoD has been reluctant to share finances. It's very much in line with the way DoD has operated recently. They seem to think that they are unaccountable for stuff like this, that they do not require any kind of oversight, that they should have a free hand to spend the acquisition funds as they see fit. This is alarming in many, many ways, but just in general, taxpayers deserve to know what their money is being spent on. I don't believe that we should know everything. The package of bills that Congress has approved also allows for classified annexes. But as the saying goes, corruption ends in daylight. We need transparency on our money. The second section talks about the space-based interceptors. The claim of the chapter is that as this continues to develop, the elements are explained, it seems that it makes less sense for space-based interceptors to be utilized. It's been demonstrated in the past that during the boost phase, where the space-based interceptor would be most capable, the time frames of that phase can be shortened, as demonstrated by both the US and the Soviet Union in the past. And now, as Russia and our near peer competitors like China and rogue nations like North Korea are operating these types of weapons, it is more than likely that they would have the ability to shorten their boost phase. This would mean that they would need to utilize mid-course style interceptors, which is what our current ground-based systems are. However, you would need at least 10 times the number of interceptors per warhead. And unfortunately, mid-course interceptors, regardless if they're space or ground-based, they're very susceptible to countermeasures. This would be prohibitively expensive, not just because of the initial deployment and the size, but because it is projected that the space-based interceptors would need to be replaced every 10 years. This seems to be a typical defense industrial-based idea of we're going to promise one thing and divert funds to another and still get paid. The U.S. defense industrial base needs to do a better job of ensuring that their U.S. tax dollar is well spent and that it is not just to gain profit, but truly for national security of the nation. Chapter 3 is a subject that I've touched on past on this podcast. It's the ties between Greenland and American national security. President Trump has claimed that Greenland is essential to the Golden Dome initiative, despite the fact that the U.S. already has bases there that are essential to missile defense and space surveillance. I'm not going to go too deep on this, as it's something that we have covered before. Needless to say, even others, experts like those from the American Enterprise Institute, have made the claim that is completely detached from reality. And it just completely throws our alliances into garbage with the threats of unilateral annexation, especially considering that previous agreements allow for so much substantial use of Greenland in the defense of the U.S. Now, Chapter 4, in a single page, talks about the staggering amount of companies that have been added to the defense contract vehicle that is being utilized for Golden Dome. Over 2,400 companies and educational institutions have been awarded some aspect of this contract. Again, this continues to be a part of a theoretical design that Golden Dome is a, quote, catch-all, end quote, defense system that supports counter ICBMs, hypersonic missile, and all kinds of drones. Perhaps I'm blind, but this kind of bloat seems that it will slow down production times and not expedite them. There is so much that we just don't see here, and the addition of so many companies or organizations is mind-boggling, especially considering that only 23 companies have been denied access to this project. Chapter 5 does clarify some of this. Those 2,400 companies include research institutions as well. I'm pretty sure that my soon-to-be alma mater, Arizona State University, is actually part of this. But there are 1,000 actual defense contractors that have been awarded part of the contract. And this contract and its associated bits is looking to be worth at least $151 billion. That same expert from the American Enterprise Institute states that this is looking to be one of the largest defense contracts of all time. And it seems like they're trying to spread the love to every defense contractor. Now, I've been critical of the way that the defense industrial base has been in the past, mostly my academic work. I dislike the fact that our defense primes has shrunk down to only about 5 companies. However, I just don't see how it's effective or expediting production. I think in this point, we need to take the whole picture. And overall, this fairly quick briefing document that Defense One has created is excellent, and I really can't support the conclusions of some of this more. It's not really even conclusions. It's more about just providing some of the evidence and some of the data that we've seen. And I think that there's going to need to be more of a call for more transparency and more structure to what is happening. I also think that this has been well done. It's a great primer for the system and what is happening right now. While it doesn't necessarily discuss what is going on, it'll lead you to the right places. Plus, there are links within it to other stories and other examples. There's a great demonstration of space-based missile defense that you can link to. If you can get access to it, I highly recommend it. I don't know if there's a link on the Defense One website, but all I had to do once I got the email was kind of list who I am, who I work for, etc. I think this is spot on, and there are some serious questions that we need to ask about when it comes to these systems. Our guardians need to be held accountable not only for what they do on the battlefield, but how the defense industrial space is integrating into our systems, about how our funds are being spent, about any kind of corruption that is happening. Like, these are things that really need to be addressed. And I'm really excited that there's so many news and think tank organizations out there that are really trying to dive into these things. I know that there's a lot here, and I hope that you learned a little bit. I hope this gives you a little bit of a primer about what is happening. I'll put a fact sheet for Golden Dome down in the thing below. And I hope that you really got something here and that you can begin to understand where some of our funding is going and why it's important that we ask questions, even of our national security apparatus. As always, if you've got some value out of this, please go ahead and gently caress that like button. It really does help. The more likes that I get, the more of a steamroll effect, more people see the videos, and then more people listen to the podcast. So I'd really appreciate it. Also, please subscribe if it's possible. That helps even more. It shows that if we have more subscribers to the channel, the algorithm will push it out more. And I do believe that there's a lot of value in this. I'm not doing this for the money. These are things that I think the average American citizen needs to hear about, and I'm here for that. Also, if you want to know when new videos come out on YouTube, go ahead and hit that notification bell. You'll know when all of my videos come out. As always, I'm very happy that you are here, and I look forward again to seeing you at the end of the week.